Yes, sir. We are live. What up, Los?
What's going on, the little Los? We
Chilling,
call you
chilling,
little Los, but you ain't no
chilling.
little Los no more. You know that though.
They used to call me
But
Lito too in New York.
yeah, yeah,
I
Lito. I
guess
guess
I
I,
guess that's a
huh?
Carlos thing, right? I guess
Yeah, I
Lito
guess
has
so,
to be
right?
a Carlos thing.
Yeah, I don't know. For a little while, I went off of that name too. I guess when I was doing you know, who used to call me that? Chella used to say that
Yeah, I hear
because
that on the track.
yeah, it's on the song. Lito, his sweet
Lito.
lullaby. Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
special, man.
shout out to Chella man over there, man, wherever he's at. You know, uh, yeah, man.
Doing his
Let's
Jamaican
get
thing.
into this, man. There's some craziness going on in the world, and
Mm,
man, the preparation for this one was deep.
yeah,
It'll never end, man. This thing could, man. I mean, I think that we could probably do like 6 or 7 episodes off of this one conflict alone.
yeah. It was a lot of research, a lot of information for sure. But
Definitely,
yeah.
bro.
What's going on right now, man? Is to some people it's shocking. To some people, it's something new, and for those who don't know the history, like I did, right? Because I'm still learning about it. I guess this goes on from way back in time. So I'm gonna have Los over here talk a little bit about it first. It's gonna be a lot of information, guys. So try to bear with us. And uh, if for those who don't know what we're talking about, what's going on over there in Israel. The Hamas attacked them last week, so I guess the war is still going on, and hostages are still being held, and I guess they're taking their forces to the ground now and going house by house, searching for these guys. But what is confusing for me was when all this was happening was I kept hearing a lot of people saying that the Hamas was freedom fighters, which in my opinion, after researching, I get why they're saying certain stuff like that, but the violence that they're bringing upon Israel, that they're brought on to Israel, the stuff they're doing to kids, to females, the beheading kids and raping females and killing the way they're killing people is not something of freedom fighting. Freedom
Nah, man.
fighting, it's terrorism, in my opinion. But the hate. Let's talk about the hate behind that, right, Los? Because
Yeah.
the hate comes from not last week, not last year, not
No.
10 years ago. That shit goes way back, right?
Yeah, this thing goes back, man. I mean, this thing goes back. Um, and then a lot of people have this in their mind, like, oh, well, the Jews just, came there after the Holocaust and took the land from the people. They just, but no, that's not how it goes, man. If you're Christian, if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in God, then you have to understand when it started, how it started, and what God told them. And
Mm,
we could go back to the patriarchs, all the way back to Abraham, which
Amen.
Abraham later in life, well, his name was Abraham. Then he became Abraham, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he comes from the southern corner of Mesopotamia, sorry, in the land of Ur, the ancient land of Ur. Then him and his father, Terah, one day they just uprooted their family and they're walking to the land that they said that was theirs. Okay. And but something happened. For some reason, they stopped in a land called Haran. They just posted up. And while they were there, the Lord speaks to Abraham and tells him to go forth from your father's house, from your relatives, to the land that I will show you. He says to him, he makes him a promise here. I will make you a great nation. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse those who curse you. And all of the people of the earth will come from you. See, now here we see something awesome too, because I mean, we had one of the things that just happened was you have Cain's curse that was still around, and
Okay.
Cain was just cursed to wander the earth. He was caused to wander the earth. You're not gonna have a home. You're gonna have enemies and those things. And now we see that curse in reverse with a blessing.
Mm,
The people will be blessed through you. You know. So
yeah.
if something happens for some reason, Terah, which is Abraham's father, stays there in where in the land of Haran. and they just post up. He don't go for it, he don't move, he just stays there. But I guess, we see in the Bible that maybe it wasn't for his blessing, because obviously in those times, right? If you're living in your father's household, you're gonna do what your father says. You understand? You can't be, hey
Yeah.
dad, why don't what your dad says, you're gonna do. That's it. Your dad is the head of the household, the priest of the household.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why God had to, but also too, I mean, ancient Hebrew scholars also understood that Terah, the father of Abraham, was an idol manufacturer, which is pagan polytheists. They're pagan polytheists. That means they worship many, many gods. And
Mm-hmm.
in Midrash, Bereshit, which means at the beginning, I guess in Genesis 38,
Shit.
13, it talks about the Terah brought Abraham into the chamber, into the inner court. The whole room was full of gods, wooden and stone. There were 12 great images, others less than without number. So I guess God couldn't do what he wanted to do if, knowing you're in your father's house who's a idol worshiper, paganistic, polytheistic, and then what if he would have brought the promise to Abraham dead in his father's house? Hey, and he would have came to his father and said, hey dad, I got one God that we need to talk to, and there's one God. Imagine that. What could have happened? So he had
Yeah.
to leave. You got to leave your dad's house. You got to get out of there. I'm going to take you to the land. So we have there the promise from Abraham, and he essentially, you know, goes and he posts up in not in Palestine, not where Jerusalem is, but I say in this like in the southernmost corner of where today is Israel. And through history, there's a lot of history showing that there was a lot of back and forth. There were people there, of course, but these are people who worshiped many gods, who did crazy things. They used to practice child sacrifice, and things like that. So how can God, you know, how can God be around such things? He can't, you know,
Yeah.
he can't. But yeah, so we see through there then also Abraham. So then, obviously Abraham settles up, a lot of things going on. And then he has his sons. And through him, his, many, many sons is promised, boom. So we have also too Isaac. Isaac was one of the sons of Abraham. And Isaac has two twins, twin childs, right? And his twins, the first one that comes out was Esau. Right? Esau was red and he was hairy. And then the second one came out and his name was Jacob. And when he came out, it said that he grasped the heel of his brother. Like he came out grabbing on his brother's foot. So when they pull one
Heel
out,
grabber.
yeah, the heel grabber. Exactly. The heel grabber, the trickster, you know?
Yeah.
So here we got two brothers that were essentially promised, you got to think, right? So my grandfather, was promised that many descendants are going to come out of us and we're going to have this beautiful land, right? And then later on, right, here comes Isaac and Rebecca, the son of Abraham, right? And they have their twins. Now, when obviously the promise of a father's household goes to the firstborn, right?
Mhm.
But we see in the Bible that Esau really didn't take his blessing serious, like he really didn't care about what was promised to him. It wasn't a thing to him, like he should have coveted it more. Like, wow, look at this, look what out of me, many descendants are gonna come, many
Yeah.
descendants are gonna come. You see? So Esau was a hunter. He always spent his time just out hunting, And Jacob was like a tent boy, he was in the tent, I guess doing more
Yeah.
political things, talking. He's probably, the more articulate one, while Esau was just off of emotion, and just a hunter, hunter gatherer,
Yeah.
So one day Esau comes back from hunting, hungry, and he was almost near death. He didn't get nothing. And Jacob was sitting cooking a stew. So Esau comes, hey, let me get some of that stew. And Jacob says, oh, I'll give you some of that stew if you sell me your birthright.
Mhm.
So what did Esau say? And his birthright was, you know, essentially that many children were going to come out of him, right? And that the land of the land of modern day Israel was going to be his. The land that was called at that time the land of Canaan, right? But he didn't take it serious. He didn't care. He didn't care, man. He didn't really care. So he said, I'll sell you my birthright. Come on. Who would do that, right? Sell
Yeah.
your birthright for a little bit of stew at the time. It's just like instant gratification type of thing, Yeah, we
Mm.
see his his characteristics coming to life here. You know, a person who really don't care. I'm just about to hear it now, right now. This is what I care about. I don't care about something that's gonna come to me later. I want what's mine now. Give me some of the stew. So Jacob says, all right, swear to me. I swear to you, give me some of the stew. Cool. Gave him the stew. All right, so here we go. We can even take this like so. A lot of these people who have this deep rooted hate, you stole this land, you stole the blessing from Esau, you know, because
Yeah.
they know these people populated all this earth, and essentially the same Arabs nations they come from the sons of Shem, you know, they all come from the same people. You got to think at a time where God brought the flood to the earth, right? He destroyed the
Yeah.
earth. Okay, because there was the Nephilim were walking around, right? It says the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they came onto them. Translation means that they saw the girls on the earth, the angels saw the girls of the earth, and they came down and had sex with them, and was born to them was giants, an abomination, crazy things. So God was sorry he created the earth, he destroyed the earth, only saving Noah and his people, all right, and his sons. Shem saw him naked, he kicked Shem out, get out. You're gonna first be one to the earth, go do your thing over there, get out. Shem goes somewhere else, populates the world. So essentially, right, there wasn't too many people on the earth. These people all were the same at one time, right? So we see a deep-rooted hate. Come on, for you to want to go into a town and to cut heads off of babies and to do some really foul, crazy things, man. That thing is not just about something that, you know, from this century or from the 20th, and it was things that we could see, you know, that we can go back to and track. No, man, this is a deep-rooted thing. It's a deep-rooted hate, man. It's a deep-rooted hate. So, so, uh, so excuse me, Jacob gets the blessing, right? He took the blessing from his brother, right? But then when the time came down for, you know, for for Abraham to pass and for the blessing to come, excuse me, for Isaac to pass and the blessing to come to Esau, Jacob again, I guess knowing that even though he got his brother to, right, say it, I promise you, you know? And when back in the day, they probably swore on God, you know? Swear on God, you know, swear on our God, Jehovah, you know, swear on him. I swear on Jehovah, you could have my blessing. Just give me some of the stew, man, right? But still in all, Jacob, man, does some, because this is people, man. People always got some other plan, right? So
Yeah.
Rebecca, East, um, Isaac loved Esau. He loved
Mm.
him. Right? I guess because he was, you know, the stronger one, you know, the strong elderly son, you know. And Jacob, Rebecca loved Jacob. So Rebecca tells Jacob, hey, man, you know, even though your brother promised this to you, right? And, you know, hey, we got to do something here. Your dad, he's near blind, so he won't notice. How about we put some animal skin on your arm so he could feel hairy like your brother. So when he grabs your arm, he could he could feel the hairiness, and you know you get your blessing. And that's what they do. See, instead of promising, right? Because Jacob already received the promise. So
I
essentially,
got.
Jacob
Okay.
already received the promise from God. He knew that he was gonna, but instead of trusting in God and what God was gonna do, here we go, people coming together, right? Hey, and this is something that even happens with Abraham and his wife Sarah, right? God promised him that he was gonna, yeah, out of his descendants, many people were gonna come forth, but he was old in age. So he said, "How can
Yeah.
that happen, man? How can I give? You know, my wife doesn't have a. She's already almost 75 years old. She can't have a baby. She's barren. You know." And instead of
Mhm.
trusting, right? So what was their plan? What was their plan? You think it was in trusting God? No. So his wife comes to him and says, "Hey, why don't you take my maid Hagar and have sex with her, and she'll give you a baby." So he has sex with Hagar, right? And then,
And she was an Egyptian slave, right?
excuse me.
She was a slave, correct?
Yeah, she was a slave. See, and this
Okay.
is something that you know at those times, you know, you couldn't do is it was mixing the bloodlines, you know? And
Mm,
especially,
okay.
right? So it was like, you know, God said, listen, out of your people, I'm gonna bless out of your seed, you know. But it was with his wife, right? And then, you know, when you're married, right? That's in the eyes of God, right? It's blessed
Yeah.
by the eyes of God, you know. And it wasn't like he was married to Hagar, that was his wife. No, you know, that was a side chick essentially, you know.
Yeah.
And he gave her, you know, she had a baby. And through that baby, right? When God says, no, you wasn't supposed to do that. Don't worry, your wife is gonna get pregnant. She's gonna give birth. All right. but now you got to kick your slave. You got to kick her out. So they send her away. They send her away from the camp. And then one day she's out there in the wilderness with a baby and with nothing. And an angel comes to them and says, "Don't worry, do not cry. Out of this baby, many descendants will come." Because he
Yeah.
gave the promise to Abraham already. How can God be God, right? And take that promise back? That's the seed of Abraham. That's his stepson. I mean, that's his son. I mean, you know what I mean? That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's his son. That it's just a different woman. So he had to keep the blessing. Do you see now? Who do you think them people come from? These are the Arab worlds, man. These are the Arab world, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a deep rooted hate. You have this deep rooted thing that comes back from the beginning of time, you know? Like,
Mm.
this is, and so on. So now we go to Esau and Jacob. Jacob steals the blessing from his brother, right? When they realize what happens, when he realizes what happened, then Jacob, so he's pissed. But his dad can't take it back. He asked him to give him the blessing. He said, "No, I can't. I already gave it to your brother. Like, I can't do this. I can't give you the blessing too." All right. So then what does Esau do? He decides to create more content because he heard Isaac telling Jacob, just make sure when your descendants come from the Hebrews, do not mix in with no other blood. Make
Yeah.
sure that because that's what God wants, right? Esau heard this, and what does he do? He just starts taking outside women, like many outside women, and giving them seed just to piss them off. This is the type of person he was,
Yeah.
just to piss them off you know and here we go. So that's even, I mean, that's much evidence. See, people, wow, what's the evidence at? What can you say that they were there? Who? Listen, tell me. We're no Jews, there's no salvation. Oh, where do you get that from? What do you mean? Oh, I mean, out of the word of Jesus that came out in
Mm.
John 4:22. Salvation is from the Jews. He said this to a Samaritan woman who she was at a well, right? A woman that was an outsider, a woman who when he came to get a drink of water, she was like, "Oh, you sure you want to drink from my cup? Like I'm an outsider, I'm a nobody, like considered, compared, I mean, to the words of what your people say, And he
Yeah.
says to them, "Well, salvation comes from the Jews." Imagine that saying it to somebody else, like how that would sound, how that would come across, like what? Yeah, yeah. So salvation comes from them only? Like, yeah, oh, sure. You know? But
Yeah.
yeah, that comes out of the mouth of Jesus. With no Jews, there'll be no salvation. That means no patriarchs, no prophets, no apostles, no Jesus.
What does
So
that
they have
word
a
what
role.
does that word patriarchs mean?
Patriarchs is is ancient family. So your fathers, your father, your great great grandmother, your great great grandfather. The forefathers,
Mm.
forefathers. That's what the word patriarch is. It's just your people that were there, your great great grandpa, your great great grandma, and so forth, right? So we
Okay.
have that. So now, listen, everything we say, everything that comes out of my mouth, hey, be my guest. Go and research, bro. Sometimes we make mistakes, but
Yeah.
right when I'm reading for from right here, what we're talking about right here, I mean, I made sure that this is on point because, man, this is the word of God, bro. And
Mm.
one thing that we don't play with is the word of God.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm? I mean, some
Yeah.
people, if you don't agree out there, right, you must be an atheist. You must not believe in God. You see what's going on, and if you're over here protesting over here in Columbia University, and you know, and you uplifting this atrocities because it's an atrocity, okay?
Yeah.
But hey, who started this thing? Who went over there? Who crossed whose country? And then just go there to fight soldiers. You went there to chop off heads. You went there to rape women. You know,
Uh,
see, but when the devil, when the devil is on your side, man, you will see devilish things.
True.
You see what I'm saying? All
Yeah.
right. So yeah, Israel attacked back. Okay, but also they did so they show God's mercy too. They show mercy and they rain pamphlets from the sky. Get out, because we're coming. All
Yeah.
right. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. Hamas. They didn't do that. They didn't. They didn't do that. They just went forth. So who was there? Who was what? Whose land is it? We could go all the way back. We can go all the way back to the Iron Age, right? When King David, a descendant of the Hebrews, okay, in the Iron Age, brings forth the kingdom of Jerusalem. I mean, of Israel, right? And then after him, King Solomon. So we got two, that's his son, right? So we have 40 years for King David, he ruled, and then another 40 years for King Solomon, he ruled. Okay. But King Solomon, okay, he was a smart, I mean, if, I don't know if everyone knows who King Solomon was, but King Solomon was the most wisest man on the earth at the time.
He's the
People
one who
came from
wrote
all over the,
Proverbs, right?
huh?
Is he the one who wrote Proverbs?
He wrote Proverbs. Yep. And he was the smartest, I mean, most intelligent being. I mean, the Masons have supposedly hidden knowledge from this man. You know, people, been seeking, this supposedly books that this dude wrote around, that, and man, this dude must have had some stuff, man, because people will come from all over the earth and they will bring great tributes just to have a conversation with him,
Crazy.
just to
Yeah.
talk to him. They will, I mean, if you read the Bible and times when it explained about King Solomon and his times, man, you see when kings came, they came with loads of gold and silver and rubies and wild animals and crazy stuff, you know? And they
Yeah.
traveled from great distances just to kick it Willy Bobo with this dude, you know? You know what I'm saying? Just to have a little
Yeah.
conversation with the dude. And King Solomon was so intelligent, but at the same time not intelligent. Because God, who's blessed you so much, told him, hey man, listen, I'm gonna give you everything. This is one thing I don't want you to do. Now, this is a man who already had about 600 wives, about 2,000 concubines.
Mm.
All right? Don't have sex with no outside woman. And what does he do? Here comes Sheba. I think she was from Ethiopia, right? Sheba, Queen Sheba. I think she came from Ethiopia, somewhere around that place. Queen Sheba. So you got to picture Queen Sheba walking into the court, right? Bing, 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 right? Doing that belly dance and everything, right? And come right some
Yeah.
craziness, right? That he just had this dude with his tongue down, like, oh God, oh my God, right? And he goes and not only has sex with her after God just gave him the command. I mean, man. One thing I will say, man, these Hebrews, they were stiff necked, man. They were hard of heart. But see, that's all a part of God's plan. You see? All right, but we're gonna go into that. But anyway, King Solomon has sex with this woman, right? And then God comes to him and says, "Hey," not only just has sex with her, starts praying to her gods, starts doing
Mm.
craziness. He's doing magical things and all this craziness, and because he knew that was gonna happen. That's why he had to tell them, "Hey, do not mix in with these other people because they pray to all these crazy stuff. They do crazy things, and they will get you to get in their ways." Okay,
Yeah.
so stay away from them. Stay away from him. Because God knows. God knows, man. He knows. But still, he shows mercy by telling, right? Right? Well, if God knew, then why didn't he just say it? Why didn't he just tell him? Hey,
Yeah.
man, because we still have freedom of choice. We're not robots.
Mm. Mm.
We're not robots. God knows what's gonna happen. He knows what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
But but it happens, bro. Everything that man brings upon is man made. We bring it upon ourselves, bro.
I
Why
heard
does
that.
God allow war? Why does God allow? Man, we create it. Man, ain't no God gonna come here and create no war.
Yeah.
We created. We created. Why? Not trusting in God. Not trusting in his ways no more. We are so separated from God nowadays, man. And you can see it through where our government runs, bro. You
Yeah.
know? We'll just with what we allow, man. And the God that was, I mean, in a country that, supposedly put God first.
Yeah.
There's no longer a country that puts God first. But King Solomon does what he does.
Yeah.
King Solomon, he has sex with Sheba. God comes, tells him, now for that, man, guess what? I'm going to let you continue your rule because you say you're going to build me a temple. But when your son comes to take this throne, I'm going to take it all away from him. So here we have the first, well, after they came, because remember, for a long time, for 200, I mean, I think it's more than 200 years, bro. It probably was like 600 years. The Hebrews were slaves in Egypt. So they
Mm.
took them off their land and put them somewhere else.
Fucked up.
See? Now allow other people to come and populate. They were there. They were there. Trust me, they were there. But they go to slavery. Why? Because they weren't doing right by God's eyes. He's a God's chosen priest. God chose these people to be the lights of the earth. But they were stiff-necked, and a lot of times they went back to praying to other things and things like that. So God always brought a calamity upon them to remind them of who they were, of who they were. See what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
So now 600 years, right? Enslaved in Egypt, they come out, right? They have a kingdom, right? Then Solomon comes, rules, he does what he does, he sins, he loses his kingdom, and now they go into Babylonia for I don't know how many years, probably 70 years. enslaved in Babylonia. Okay, so now we have a back and forth of people conquesting Israel. Okay, so
Right.
let's go by century, right? You have 8th century, you have the Assyrians who conquered Israel, right? Then the Babylonians, 601 BCE. Then the Persians, 539 BCE. Then Alexander the Great, okay? Because he took over the Persian Empire, but obviously all their lands too, right? And there was a
Yeah.
long period of Hellenization, because Alexander the Great was from Greek. That's just, a word to describe a Greek conquest, Hellenization, all right? Then we have another king, Hasmonean, who conquered most of Palestine and the parts of the region, right? But the kingdom became, that kingdom became a vassal of Rome. So Hasmonean, right, was a vassal of Rome. So this is when the Jews came and took over um Israel there, right? Because we know that in the New Testament, right, when Jesus was brought to the cross, who did they go to? Who did the Jews go to to bring forth the charges? They went to Pontius Pilate. Pontius Pilate was a Roman. See what I'm saying? So here
Yeah.
we have Rome that took over Israel for a long time, right? But then there was a lot of Jewish revolts, right? Which the Romans answered back in destroying the second temple, and that's another prophecy. See, in the fourth century, Roman Empire, Christian Palestine. In the fourth century, the Roman Empire, Christian Palestine, which is today Israel, is at the center of Christianity. Okay, right? Following that, the Muslims came in conquest. That was in 636, 641. Then after that, there was several Muslim dynasties battling back and forth for control of it, back and forth until 1099 when the Crusaders established the Kingdom of Jerusalem. So they were in Jerusalem, they had that land, but outside the other land, there was many Muslim countries. You understand? There was a lot of
Yeah.
back and forth stuff, but they had it for a long time, the Crusaders. Then 1187, this is when we see that the Ottoman Empire came and took over, right? And they largely ruled undisrupted for 20 for until throughout the 20th century. Okay. So then during those times, all right, we see that there was a mass migration, right? It's like they told their people that were living in Palestine, and then that was called Palestine. We're talking about Israel. Palestine, Israel, all the same thing. Sounds familiar, right? The name?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's all the same, right? So the Muslim countries set forth and told the people, hey, get out of there, get out of that land, come to us, and we see a mass migration, right? Because even in the Jews that were living in the other Arab countries were sent back to their land, So it was like a
Mhm.
mass migration thing, boom, right? But then it was like during World War I, the British issued the Bellflower Declaration. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of funny how they did this thing, man. It's like the enemy of your enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
In favor of now national home for the Jewish people. So they were trying to get them a home. But then there was so much sectarian violence back and forth that they stopped it. They stopped it. They didn't let it go down. But then we see that even, you know what I'm saying? After that, the Holocaust happens. And 6 million Jews were killed, bro. 6 million Jews were killed. What is that? Where does this anti-Semitism come from, bro? Where does that thing come
Yeah.
from? This anti-Jewish thing. You guys want to know? Do you really want to know? It
Mm.
comes from the Christian world, bro.
I heard that.
It comes from the Christian people that put the Bible together, who put the commentaries together. The Jews killed Jesus. Yeah, factual facts. It hurts, it stings, right? Yeah, bro. But like I said, we forget, man. We forget that it was on purpose. It was on purpose that God hardened their hearts, man. He purposely did that because it had to happen, had to go into play. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it had to go into play because everything that God says is gonna happen. Everything that God promised is gonna happen. Do you understand me?
Okay. I have a that was a lot of information, but question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um. So I mean, is there people that believe that Jews didn't kill Jesus? Is that something that
Nah,
people
man.
would say, or is that something that pretty much a lot of people that study the Bible knows?
Oh, I mean that's what they say. The Jews killed, but like if you think about it, they brought charges upon him. They did. They brought charges upon him. And then Pontius Pilate. But if anything, it was really Rome who did it. Because Pontius Pilate could have been like, you know what, get out of here, Scram. But it had to happen. No
Yeah.
one, if Jesus didn't die on the cross, then there'll be no salvation for us. If there was no Jews, there'll be no salvation for us. He said it when he came down. You understand? He said it, bro. He said it. He said, you know, like I told you in John, right? And what was the scripture, man? Excuse me. Yeesh. In the book of John. I forget the actual verse, whatever. But he says, with no Jews, there's no salvation. He said to the Samaritan woman, right? No Jews, no prophets, no apostles, no Jesus. So it had to happen like that. It had to happen like that. So what is it? Like I said, that thing is, it's just a, you know, a Christian thing, man. Like, I mean, think about it. Hitler was a baptized Roman Catholic, right?
Mhm.
You know, but it's like, but all in a sense, right? These people go through what they go through because it's just how it has to happen. It's how it has to play out. Sounds
Yeah.
crazy. It sounds messed up, but it's the truth, man. It's the truth, man. They are. If it wasn't for the prophecy of God hardening the hearts, right? Then us Gentiles will be far, far off for this thing. We wouldn't have salvation, you know.
Yeah.
There'll be no way for us to come, you know. So it's all the plan of God. You understand? Like it was a way for us to enter into God's grace, right? Because Jesus is the bridge that brings us. It says in the book of in the New Testament that we're grafted to the olive tree, and the olive tree is the Jewish people. Right, but the Apostle Paul writes in Romans chapter 11, he's stressing the fact and telling Jewish Christians, mostly like him, to also, right, don't forget where you come from, man. That it was part of God's planning for this to unfold the way it unfolded. You know, this is the
Yeah.
Apostle Paul, right? Essentially, he's Jew, right? I mean, I think most people don't even know. Did we not know that Jesus is Jewish?
Uh-huh.
I think some people forget that, man. Like, we need to read our books a little bit more, man. Like, you know, Jesus
Yeah.
was a Jew. It says it was the tradition of Jesus to go to the synagogue and to read from the book of Isaiah. So that means that Jesus was a practicing Jew. He went to the synagogue, gathered with his other Jewish people, and he read from the book of Isaiah. And he spoke of the prophecy of the virgin birth and things like that, right? Of the Messiah coming forth. And he told them, surely this has come true today. Okay. So we have to understand that, man. Even before he went to the cross, what was he doing? He was celebrating, he went to Jerusalem to celebrate Passover. He was sitting down
Yeah.
with his disciples and they were doing the Jewish tradition of breaking the bread, of doing, you know, the whole custom that they do on the Passover Seder. They were sitting down doing that. The kingdom of God is a royal Jewish Davidic monarchy, you know, and we have to understand all that stuff, man. That the kingdom of God comes from the Jewish people, bro. It comes from the Jewish people. So that's ancient. Everything that happened in ancient, okay, ancient stuff. But now when the Muslims people, when the Muslims, right, when the Ottomans had taken over Palestine, a lot of the people left. Expulsion. A lot of them left. A lot of the Jews left. But it was another prophecy for them to be scattered amongst the earth. Right? And then for them to come back, a call for them to come back to their promised land. So we see two prophecies already coming true after something that was going to happen to them, a craziness that was going to happen to them, which was the Holocaust. All
Yeah.
right. So man, come on, bro. Like, why does everybody have a beef with these Jewish people, bro?
So what are
Right?
the people that are protesting? Um, what are they protesting for?
Man, man, oh man. How do you protest that, man? How do you stick up? Okay, all right. Let's talk about like let's all right. Let's get off the history and
Yeah.
let's talk about it what we see today. All right,
Yeah.
because sometimes history bores people, but that's why people don't know shit, right? Because they can't just sit there, they
You're
can't sit
right.
down and just listen for a little while,
Yeah.
right? It's all
Yeah.
like, I can't, AD shit, whatever.
Yeah.
How do you how can you sit there and say that, so you're saying it's all right for Hamas to cross the border, right? And to go in there and to not go to they knew that there was a Jewish holiday. They knew there was going to be no soldiers. They purposely picked that day. You go and you
Mm.
kill innocent civilians. If the Mossad would have did that, if the Mossad would have kicked the freaking gate down and went into one of the towns of Palestine and did that, oh my God, right? But then if they would,
It-
so let's reverse the situation. Let's reverse it. So if the Jews did it first, but
yeah,
then the so-called freedom fighters did it, it would be all right because they've been
yeah,
oppressed. They've been oppressed, bro. Man, you're talking about a people that hate you. You're talking about a people that their rhetoric.
yeah. I'm here, bro.
My bad, bro. Yeah, because you'll call 100 times if I don't pick up once. Okay, so we go back. We're talking about the protests. You're talking about
Ye-
that a people whose rhetoric is kill. You're talking about a people whose rhetoric is kill all Jews, men, women, and children. Just take them off the face of the earth. Destroy them. That's it. That's all. That's all. That's what we need to do. Let's finish what Hitler started. Let's wipe them off the face of the earth. So you're angry that they fight back. You're angry they drop bombs. Yeah, it's
So,
messed up. There's
so my bad. So this Hamas group, right? It's it's a bit confusing.
okay.
They're Palestines, whatever you call it. I guess not say that word. Palestines.
Palestine,
They're Palestines. Are they Palestines?
Palestinians.
Yes, Palestinians.
Yes. Yeah. So Hamas. Okay. So let's go into where they come from. All
Yeah,
right.
because
So
they established like 1960s, right?
yeah, in the 1960s, exactly, bro. So we see that. Okay. So all right. Hold on. Let's pause it right there because now I have to find the notes.
Mic check
Okay.
1 2.
Yeah. 1 2 1 2. All right. Now we're gonna go into the history of what that happens. Now, like in this time,
All
PLO,
right.
all that stuff. Okay. So you know where we're going with it. All right. So why is it so sought after, right? Why is it so like Jerusalem is the holy city of 4 world religions, right? And since 1967, the sites have been under Israeli jurisdiction. So we had
Mm-hmm.
the 6 Day War for that, right? 6 Day War was had Israel, you had the Arab nations that were defeated, right? The Arab neighbors, they were defeated. They were humiliated, and nobody wanted to help them. Nobody wanted to help them. So they were sent to camps, right? They were like, go to these camps, get out of the way, so you don't, giving them a little out somewhere that they can go to be safe, right? So
Yeah.
many of the Palestinians that were living there that didn't want to get killed, who weren't trying to fight against, right? Fight against the Israelis, right? They ran and they go to the camps, which is modern day Palestine,
Mm.
Gaza. Okay. So they stay there. And it's in there, right? In this time and internment that we see people that essentially are pissed off, their uncles probably got killed because they were fighting, and then that rhetoric starts, oh man, I hate the Jews, wow, these people, But see, like anybody else, man, anybody else probably would have just wiped them out, let's. But here we go again. They show mercy and give them somewhere to go, free electricity, free water, right? Give them somewhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
But still in all, they mess up. They mess up by allowing these people to be there, right? Oh, how can you say that? Because they want to kill you.
Yeah.
So let's switch it up. 9/11. 9/11 happens. 9/11 happens, right? Today was
Mm-hmm.
9/11. Taliban drove planes through the Twin Towers, which one floor was a nursery, right? A babysitting place, right? There was children there too.
Oh
Okay?
wow.
There was a bunch of children. And they run to Long Island. This is where the Taliban lives, Long Island. Let's just say Taliban lives in Long Island. You would not we wouldn't have came here and destroyed people. We wouldn't have came here no, bro. 9/11 just happens. We got attacked. The people would have crossed over the bridge, ran up
Yeah.
in Long Island, and got these fools the F out of here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Correct.
come on now. You know what I'm saying to you? But so here we have what was born out of the prison, the refugee camps was Fatah. Fatah was, is essentially was like you know, religious branch, but they're they have terroristic ideas. You know what I mean? That when a terrorist is ideas is hey, let's go and blow up a plane. Let's go uh you know into a town where there's no soldiers and let's using guerrilla warfare tactics. You know,
Yeah.
come on. So out of there, the PLO is born, the People's Liberation Organization. They call it that, right? But, so there was even a time in history, right, that the Mossad, a Mossad agent came to the Israeli to the Israeli government and says, "Listen, we got this thing growing." See, because all right, the Arab world, the reason why they used to go, they could never win wars because they were all separated. They all, well, you're Arab from this section of town, So it was no, hey, we all speak the same language. We all no, there was none of that. It was a lot of split division amongst themselves. You understand?
Yeah.
We can see that in history when Lawrence of Arabia was trying to do what he was doing over there, right? And he was trying to gain, win for the British government, right? But he couldn't. It was so difficult because it was about tribes. It was about tribes, different tribes. Even though they spoke the same language, they were different tribes.
They were
Then
separated.
it, huh?
They weren't united like they should have
Yeah.
been.
There was no united front, bro. There was always just back and forth craziness things going on over there. All right. So now, when they went to those camps, they got to know each other. They got to like each other. Hey, we're all here in the same situation, man. And out of that,
Yeah.
Fatah was born, the PLO. So, like I said, a Mossad agent came to the government and said, "Hey, we got something brewing, man. Like, I think that we should just we should knock this thing out on an infant at its infancy." And the government says, "No, let them be." All right. So that was. I mean, if you think about it, man, if they would have did what they had to do, right? If they would have been what these people are saying they are, they would have just got rid of them. They would have
Yeah.
just got rid of them then and there. But
Just
they allowed it.
crush them, and that's it.
Huh? Yeah, you
Crush them, and
gotta
that's
crush your
it.
enemy, bro. Come on, you're gonna let your enemy
Just
go
like they did with
destroy you.
ISIS. Just like we did with ISIS. Crush them, annihilate
Crush them.
them, eliminate them. That's it. Get them out.
Exactly, because you got a people whose rhetoric is kill Americans.
Yeah.
They're chopping your head off, bro. Kill Jews. They're all the same thing. American Jews, they're the same thing. So it don't matter, bro. It doesn't matter. If you think that if we live in America, then hey, you might as well just be Jew, man. That's it. You understand? Because we are the same in those people's eyes. America and the Jewish countries are the same. We're about the democracy. We're about this, And hey, they don't like us. They don't like us.
They never
We
will.
cannot allow them to grow strong because they will. But you know what is all no? I can't even say that because it don't matter what we allow because the plan that God has set forth is already in play and we can't stop that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And the prophecy of those kingdoms coming together to destroy Israel is already at play, and we can't stop that neither. Do you understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the Arab world, a lot and its neighbors that they didn't come for them, right? Because they got beat up in 6 days, man. So they were sitting there waiting for the Arab world to come together to help them out, but they wouldn't come for them because they just got destroyed in 6 days. So they said that there's no way that we can help. There's no, I mean, that they're gonna come help us. So we got to do this thing on our own. And this is where Fatah is born. Yasser Arafat, who is a construction worker, brings people together and they start doing things, man. And one of the first things they do, man, is that they go into Frankfurt, Germany. Okay. And it was in Munich then in 1972. So here we have, the first instant of PLO, they kill Israelis. They killed in the Olympic Village, they stormed the Olympic Village and they killed, it's probably more than I had two here, but I know there was more than that. Okay, because I think they killed 3 or 4 in the beginning, right? And then they held hostages. And then they take them on a plane. They was like, give me a plane, give me a chopper, give me this and that. They give them what they need. And they put the Israeli athletes on a chopper and they threw a grenade in there, blew them up, and hightailed it out of there. And everybody celebrates these people as heroes,
Yeah.
freedom fighters. They come back and then, oh yeah, you guys did some good. Again, the killing of innocents. Again,
Yeah.
if Israel did that, how would they be looked? You know what I'm saying too? Like, so then even after that, we have 1973. A lot of people forget about this history. They don't know about it. In 1973, on 12/21, PLO, they take over a Pan Am plane and they blow it up, whose passengers were largely Israeli people. In Rome, they do that. Terror. You're allowing these people to be there, to breathe, and this is what happens, bro. They get stronger, they get stronger, they get stronger, and then they come and they do what they did.
I wonder if they let them breathe after this.
Oh no, it's over. The Jewish people they follow the old ways of God, right? The Old Testament, right? And the Old
Yeah.
Testament is an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So how can you say to that way is wrong, this way is wrong, but they still show mercy because they could have just did that. But you have soldiers hiding underneath hospitals, hiding underneath schools, where they know that there's people hiding. There's people up there. They're
Yeah.
purposely telling the people, don't leave, stay. We want everyone to see this. We want them to come to our aid. Let's see if they come to us. Okay. And so essentially they want all the countries, they and it's gonna happen because it's in the Revelations, what I mean? Like all the countries they're gonna come together, right? So we have signs, right, of them being scattered amongst the earth, right? And then regathered. That has already come true. Okay. But regathered together, right? They will come under attack. And that's spoke about in Ezekiel 37 and 38. It talks about a large force coming from the north and attacking her. Some people say, oh, but that force could be Russia. No, I think we got it wrong. You know what I'm saying? I really think it makes more sense because Russia's so far off. I think that eventually, yeah, Russia will probably get involved in this play, right? Because we have in the Revelations, we talk about the four kings of the north, right? This is prophecy that will come together to destroy Israel. Okay. And it will come. The beast is rising out of the sea. So so a lot of people thought that a real beast is going to come out of the sea, but I think they got that wrong too, man. The sea is the land,
Yeah.
the sea is the land. The other people, out of the sea, out of the, just think about how they used to write things back in the day. They didn't know there was land down that way. They just thought it was sea.
Yeah.
So out of the
Yeah.
sea, right? Out of the sea. Just imagine large forces of Navy ships coming out of the sea. And we have the four kingdoms. The four kingdoms from the north. I think that kingdom, right, will be Russia. Because you see
Uh,
how they're playing this now, how they're speaking about it. And everything that's going on now, with them doing what they're doing, trying to get more land for Russia, right? And America helping them, helping Ukraine stop them, right? Stopping them in tracks, right? You don't think they're pissed off about that? And
yeah.
eventually, when they see the opportunity, they will attack. They will attack. When they see there's and they can't do it now. They can't do it. And they won't. Not that they can't. They could do it if they want to, but they won't do it because everybody wants to back a winner. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to go
Yeah.
into a losing fight. Who's gonna go in that? No one's gonna come to your aid if you're losing. Nah, man. Heck no. I ain't gonna be a part
Yeah.
of that. They want to come when they see that you could. Oh man, they got a chance. All right, let's back them.
Yeah.
Same thing France did to America in the war of independence. France didn't want to get involved right away. They were like, nah, you guys are losing too many battles. I don't think it's a good idea to support, even though they hate it. Right? This is another thing that goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Right?
Hmm.
So here we go, ancient enemy, right? France and England. So Ben Franklin goes over to the France and tries to convince, the King Louis, hey, come on, help us with this war. But they had to wait to see if maybe they could win. And once they saw that they were winning some battles, they went and they sent them shipments, they sent them arms, and they helped them out. Same thing. Same thing here. But the kingdom of the north, from the four kings that ride, right? I do believe that could be Russia, right? Then you have the south, which is the Islamic forces. Then you have the king of the kingdom of east. Who do you think that is? With 200 million soldiers, who
Yeah.
can who can supply that many soldiers? You say Germany?
China.
There you go, bro. Who can supply that many soldiers? Now look at things that's going on to today. Do you see?
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah.
it's coming to play with the back and forth, China attacking Taiwan, and maybe no, beep bop beep boop, and they're just waiting for their opportunity because they do want to ride on us. Trust that. They're just waiting for their opportunity. And this thing here, people know Satanists and Christians alike. They know what it is. They know what it is. And then you have the kingdom of the West. Who
Us.
is that? The
The
USA.
USA.
Yes. But that's
Welcome
when the
to
Antichrist already
America.
rises. This is when the Antichrist already rises. And Jesus says, right, that my return will come when the times of Sodom and Gomorrah are brought forth. Sodom and Gomorrah. What was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah? A lot of
What is
craziness, a
it?
lot of homosexual activity. Sodomites, sodomize. Would you ever think where that word came out of? Sodomites. Yes. We're talking about the same thing. That even so, when these angels came to warn Lot, who was Abraham's nephew, warn Lot, hey, you got to get out of here. People were trying to kick their door down and say, yo, we saw those four men who came in there. Let us have them. We want to have sex with them. Right?
Yeah.
this is the craziest, right? So what's happening today, man? That if my son says, "Daddy, I feel like a girl," he can 6 years old go and tell his school, and they're gonna shoot him up with hormones, and I can't say nothing about it, and I can't say crap about that. And my
Yeah,
6 year old could be confused and be like, "Hey, I feel like a girl, Daddy," and say something in school, and they're gonna shoot him with the hormones he needs, and I can't say nothing about it.
it's fucked
Whoa,
up, right? Mm-hmm.
whoa, what? We are living in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah, ladies and gentlemen, and no, and not for nothing. I, if this prophecy comes true, the Antichrist will rise out of this country. Right?
And
Gonna
it's
be
true.
craziness.
It's true we talk about, man, because you get to that topic of what you talked about right now, the kid going to school. Is like we're in times where they've made it okay for them to be free and do that, but they've made it not okay for us to say I don't rock with it. I'm not okay with that, you
Yeah,
know. And
exactly.
then we're the bad guys for saying, you know what I'm saying, for not allowing a 6 year old to determine whether, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
what kind of
yeah.
decision is a 6 year old gonna make, man.
Listen, I have nothing against gay people and what they choose to put up their butt. That's on you.
Yep.
You understand? But that you would deal with your consequences of sin. You have to deal with that because
Yeah.
it's a sin, bro. I mean, you were born that way. I know there's a lot of weird things going on in your DNA. Do you feel like you have to stick something in your culo? But hey, that's on you,
Yes,
bro.
nigga.
That's on
I'm
you.
sorry.
You understand? But like I said, you will have to deal with your consequences of sin, bro. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. You could have a great heart, man. Doesn't mean you're a
Yeah.
bad person. Doesn't no, man. But hey, God's word says that's not okay, man.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go with God's word, then you're against that.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Oh
mean
yeah.
you hate them. Doesn't mean you know. Hey, you just I say you still gotta love them the same.
Yeah.
You know, you still gotta love them the same thing, right? These people are playing a part. These people are playing a part. Palestinians, you know, they're playing a part. So we still gotta love them, right? But hey, man, you brought it
That's
on against yourself, right? Now they're like, why are you guys are dropping the bomb on me? Why didn't you say the same thing to your neighbor when you saw them doing freaking routines in the backyard practicing for this hit? Why didn't you go
yeah,
there and yell at them and say, hey, don't do this because them fools are gonna rain hellfire down upon us, and it's gonna be because your fault, stupid
pretty
fool.
much. Yeah.
No, they didn't say that. They kept their mouths quiet. You know, it's a little country. They could see what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like they had a little private land somewhere, you know, hundreds of miles away. No, they can see, like, oh, these fools are getting ready to attack Israel.
Yeah, of course. Yo,
But,
I would imagine you see a bunch of people to get together. You know
no,
what I'm saying? I'm
bro,
sure
they don't hide
they were
it.
practice there were target practices and shit, you know what I'm
No,
saying?
yeah,
Drills.
exactly. Yeah, bro. And they said they
But
planned this.
that's what I don't understand. I mean, how did Israel's intelligence fail to see this?
Oh, well, so, okay. So supposedly they gave them intelligence saying, hey, there's a plan, there's an attack happening, is in motion. Trust me, they know everything, bro. Trust me, there's nothing in this world that's secret. I mean, there's spies and counter spies everywhere, bro, everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
supposedly they brought it forth to them, and they just I don't know, didn't know where it was gonna attack from, where it was gonna happen, and they hit them with the okey doke, you know.
How long ago did this information were they
Not
aware of
sure,
this?
man, but supposedly it just a couple weeks before the attacks.
Oh
hmm
damn, that's crazy.
America claims to have supposedly gave them that information. Hey, they're planning for an attack,
Wow.
but also America, you know, gets Hezbollah $6 million. You know, I mean Hezbollah, excuse me, Hamas, and you know them people because it's all the same. Even if it's
Well,
not
hey,
the
hey,
terrorist organization, right?
Iran.
Hamas is considered a political,
Yeah.
um, branch, right? And a lot of their leaders are the governors and the people in charge of running the country. Those are their leaders. You didn't see them giving salat and giving thanks
And
after they attacked?
they're not even in Gaza. Those leaders of that, they're all in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they're somewhere else.
Yeah,
Or somewhere
that's the
else.
crazy thing about it.
They're far away. It's always like that. The men who bring the war together, who bring the war forth, who bring the plans, are the men in suits who don't even get dust on their shoes.
Damn.
Man. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
was a lot. That's a lot of information, bro. And
yeah. That's I mean,
um,
bro. Like, excuse me. This
that's
this goes on this can go on for days. We could talk about this for days, but is it right? My bad, bro.
All
Hello?
good. Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
good.
Um. So, man, like we could continue talking about this for days. We can, but it's not right, bro. It's not right for you, right? Men with AK-47s and with vests on, right, to go and to kill innocent women and children. Okay, it's not right on any side. But when you bring the war upon yourself, bro, it like, what do you want to do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? So they showed them mercy. They gave. They're telling them to flee to the south. Get out. They didn't have to do that. They just did that for the world because the world is crying out. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So are they preparing to go house by house
Oh yeah, man.
and
That
let
conflict. That
like what we
conflict is
did in
gonna be.
Fallujah? That's what we did in
Yeah, like
Fallujah, right?
exactly. Yup. The Marines did it in Fallujah. They went house to house, and that is where they. I mean, a lot of people gonna die. A lot of people gonna die. Israeli and Palestinians alike, because that is some of the most grueling type of warfare. That's how little guerrilla style armies, which is like Hamas. They put their tactics in guerrilla warfare. And if anybody doesn't know about what guerrilla warfare is, it's basically just taking it to a different environment. You don't fight your enemy head on because and when your enemy is too strong. This is for
Mhm.
the armies with they don't have the numbers but have weapons. They use guerrilla style tactics. Like how the Vietnam Cong did it, how 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 Cuba did it when they gained their independence from Batista. They fought guerrilla style warfare, and it doesn't matter if it's in the jungle or if it's in the streets. See, a large force could be out standing outside of a trailer park, but you could set up booby traps and bombs, right? And then they will have to kick in every door one by one, and then bomb blows up. There goes there thrives three. They step on a roadside bomb, there dies five. You know,
Yeah.
and you didn't lose not one soldier. So it has to. It's a slow, methodical. It's a slow, methodical fight, and it has to be done like you know inch by inch. When there's got snipers on roofs taking headshots, and so it's gonna be a grueling war. It's gonna be but like I said, man, hey, this plan has been set forth, you know, and there's nothing that we can do. There's nothing that we can do. That's it, bro. It's like I
Yeah.
don't even know, man. Like this if you go with this, if you have it in your head, it's like if you have it in your heart to say, man, like it's okay to do that. It's okay to go in there and kill women and children. What? Like that's what
Yeah.
you guys are celebrating
It's
this?
not right. It's not
You could
right.
talk about it. You could say, man, yeah, it's kind of messed up. They were there. I think the people who go against, who talk against this, who talk against the Jews, those are people that don't believe in the word of God.
Mhm.
These are people who don't believe in it because if you believe in the word of God, you see that when God says something, He's going to hold His promise. There's prophecies on this. This is going to happen. All right,
Yeah.
this is going to happen.
Yeah. That's yeah, when I also did the research too, it was a lot. It was a
Oh
lot of
my gosh.
information, and I was like, godly. I mean, think about it. Like how far back, like we talked about it, how you talked about it, how far back this goes, and just to try to do the research on it, I did as much as I can, just so I could, like pretty much have an understanding. But I still learned a lot, like of the listeners listening to this podcast right now, or this episode right
Mm-hmm.
now. I learned a lot, and when there's times where I just, I sit back and I shut up and I listen. And I got my notes here. I was writing down a lot of notes.
Yeah.
So, but we're definitely gonna have to at some point do again a little in depth of maybe the rundown of what you talking about, the kingdom of of King Solomon and all of that, the Persians and Alexander the Great, the Hasmoneans, and the
Yeah.
Crusaders. It was a lot. You know.
There's way more and more. Like I said, this could be a 5-part podcast, bro. Like
Yeah.
easily. There's so much
Oh yeah, I
information.
believe it.
There's so much back and forth stuff. But like Hey, man, God, our God, if you believe in the God of Abraham, promised them their land. That's their
Yeah.
land, bro. That's their land. Are you gonna tell me
True.
no? You gonna tell me
No,
no?
I agree.
You're gonna
No.
tell me say, nah, man. I mean, hey, do you believe it's all in all, it turns out to this. Are you a believer in God's word or are you not?
Mm.
So if you're not, then I understand why you have this rhetoric towards the Jews. Who the
Yeah.
Jews think they are? Who the heck they think they are, man? These people, man, they think they're the shit, you know? They think they're
Yeah.
hot stuff. But hey, God purposely hardened their heart.
Those God's people, man.
Purposely, purposely hardened their heart. All right. And it says that that is going to be reversed. We see that even in the time when Moses came to free them out of slavery, out of Egypt, right? That he hardened Pharaoh's heart. All right. Now, this is somebody that Moses had a relationship with. He
Yeah.
grew up in his father's court.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people, oh man, Moses, he said he couldn't, I can't even talk. I stuttered, I got when God told him, hey, you gotta go over here and you're gonna free these people. He said, how can I do? I can't even talk right. Like,
Wow.
but God provided, right? He gave him his brother Aaron, right? You take your brother, he'll speak too, blah blah. But I don't think I think that maybe I don't know, because that man growing up in Pharaoh's court, one, right? You
Yeah.
growing up in Pharaoh's court. I have a son. He's around your same age. You make sure you stick by this man's side, right? So it's like kind of like he had a relationship with this dude, like the personal bodyguard type thing. He probably went to war with him, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I like the latest movie with Christian Bale,
Oh,
because it showed,
I
yeah,
recently seen that like 2, 3 weeks ago. I clicked on
yes,
it. Wow.
awesome, right?
Yeah,
Awesome
how he
because it
saved
shows a
it
different
was
side of Moses. It didn't see him like a stuttering dummy, like no, it showed him as a strong individual. He had to be
yeah,
strong,
that
bro, to live
saved
all
his
them years.
brother in a war that some
Yeah,
lady prophesied it was going to happen.
yep, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, that movie was crazy, bro. It was
Yeah. So,
and
and also too, we see in the scriptures, right? We see in the scriptures that they said they had like these large pillars of smoke that would go up, right? And smoke will be above the children of Israel, right? As they were moving to go to their land, to their promised land, right?
yeah,
And that is something that we see in Egyptian history used when mass armies were moving. They would take these pillars, right? So when the people all the way in the back see the smoke, they know to
they
follow
will
the smoke.
prepare.
They know where to
Oh,
go.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because think about like 30,000 people marching. They have cell phones. There's no way they can call back to the rear, right? Or hey, where we going, right? But when they see the smoke, they know to follow that smoke. That's where we're going.
Yeah.
You see, so we see here an instance of when him taking something, right, and using it for God's purpose. You see, now he hardened Pharaoh's heart when he came and said, "Let my people go," and he said, "No, get out of here." And letting you
Mm-hmm.
people go, right? He had to purposely, because what if he would have just been like, nah, all right. The first time, things then God couldn't show his might. God couldn't
Mm.
show what he's about to these people. You
Yeah.
know, he couldn't show. If they would have just made it easy, all right, go ahead, take him, no problem. Get out of here. No, bro, no, 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 no. He had to harden his heart purposely, and it was another thing. See, this is we see in another instance. Now, when the pharaohs used to get mummified, they used to take a man, it's like a stone beetle that they used to make, and used to put it over the heart. This is where we get that term of the hardening of the heart. See, so here we
Okay.
go. God taking something that was Satan, that was satanically used, right? So because we had they had these crazy ritualistic things. Hey, and then all right. So if it's not God's way, then it's other man's way. Hmm?
Yeah.
Do you believe in God or don't you? I don't know. If you don't, then hey, you say, oh well, that's their customs. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, bro. Me, I believe in the word of God, right? I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And if you're saying the same thing, you see, like let's understand this, right? That at a time, Christian and Jews, same thing, bro. Who were the first Christians? They were all Jews. Hmm? That rhetoric of that came from these people who, the Council of Nicaea and anti-Semitism, that comes from there. That comes from there. St. Augustine, these people that did these writings, this hate for the Jews. It's not right. But it's so long. We see God taking something that belongs somewhere else and taking it. Okay, so you're gonna the hardening of your heart. Check it out. Look how God moves. I'm gonna use it. Right? I'm gonna use
Yeah.
that now. Come here. You know? It was- yeah, man. But
Yeah.
this thing is gonna be a thing, man. It's a thing to pay attention to see how it unfolds. Because the prophecies, man, they're coming. They're lining up. They're
Mm.
lining up. They're lining up. So then the next prophecy is when all those, I'm just going to tell you, when the Arab worlds come together and they come to destroy Israel off the face of the earth, God's not going to allow that to happen, man. He's not going to allow his people to be destroyed off the face of the earth. He will come. He will save Israel. And if you curse Israel, then you will be cursed. But if you bless Israel, then you will be blessed.
Even says in the Bible,
Huh?
we gotta pray for
Simple
Israel.
as that.
Yeah.
It comes down, like I said before, do you believe in God's word or don't you?
True.
Are you a believer or are you not?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not, then there's a place for you. It's hot. It's
Yeah.
very hot, but there's a place for you, bro. I you know what I mean? There's a place. There's
Mm-hmm.
a place. There is a
Yeah.
place.
Wow. Damn, Los. Hell yeah. I thank you for that, man. That was a lot of information, man. That
Man,
was dope. That was really cool, man. See how the history of it, man, because when a lot of people don't know what's going on, and some people don't even give a
no.
shit, to be
Nah, they
honest.
don't
But
care. They don't care to know because people don't care about their soul these days, you know?
yeah,
It's not a worry to some people. You know, we live in a comfortable place, you know? We live in a real comfortable place.
that's the
But
problem.
they, but,
That's the
but
problem.
that arm,
Sometimes,
Satan's arm will reach over. It will reach over. He will reach over. And but he's here already. Do you understand it? He's
yeah,
here. He's moving. He's in the government. He's here, bro. I believe that Antichrist is sitting in Congress right now. You know? He's
yeah,
sitting there. You know, so it's like a another prophecy. Like it's gonna be like 7 years of war, right? Crazy war, and then this man will rise up, right? And he'll bring peace to the world. He'll bring peace. He'll bring peace, and this man's gonna be the slickest talking fool you ever seen in your life. He's gonna have everybody on his side. No one's gonna know. Everyone's gonna be like, "Wow, this dude, man, he's great." And he's gonna be like, "Hey, man, I got an idea. Let's stop all this everybody's different stuff. Let's bring the world together. Let's just bring the
yeah.
world together." Sounds nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring the world together. And everyone's gonna be like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah. And then when that world comes together, he's no longer gonna hide his face.
The
He's gonna,
Antichrist.
he's gonna show himself. He's gonna show himself. And when he shows himself, that's when he's gonna force you to choose. Do you believe in God's word or don't you? It's gonna be a day when either you or your child is gotta make that decision. So
Crazy.
how are we preparing our kids? How are we preparing ourselves? How?
It's
How are you
bad.
doing that? Are
Crazy
you
because
just gonna know?
a
Are you
lot
just
of a
ignoring
lot
it?
of us aren't. That's the sad thing about it. You know,
Nah,
it's
man. Yep.
but it's I don't know, man. I really want to do an episode on Revelations, but I just know that would be scary to research for.
Oh,
You know,
I mean, it's scary to research. Yeah, man. But like I said,
but it's good to
you
know
have
too,
to,
man.
man. And it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But we'll see. Like when you read Revelations and you doing doing the thing of Revelations, that would be great, you know. But then we'll see how that ties in. You know, it would definitely tie into this. And it's important for people to know. It's important for people to get scared. It's important because maybe by a little bit of fear, maybe it'll move them. It'll move them to do something. It'll move them to understand more and to be prepared. You know, because then you won't get caught off guard. See me,
Yeah,
like I see these things happening, and I knew it. Like instantly, my family, like we just knew what's going on. Oh man, did you hear they attack Israel? Oh, it's going down. And we're not talking about Israeli. No, I'm talking about it's going down because we know the
yeah,
prophecies of God. We understand what God had promised and what is going to come to be, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
That's true.
yeah, so there's a lot of I mean, I wrote so much
Yeah,
notes
no,
and I wasn't able to
no.
even to touch on certain things, but I think that I think for the most part I was able to articulate who has been there, who is there, and
Yeah.
why, and why. Everybody's been
Yeah.
fighting over control of Jerusalem, bro. Jerusalem is the holy city. Jerusalem is the holy city, you know? And who's it belong to? Belongs to God, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. Belongs to God,
Simple.
man. And this is where Jesus is gonna come down, and he's gonna set forth his new kingdom, and he's gonna reign from the earth. He's gonna reign from here, right? And he's gonna destroy the Antichrist. And it's gonna happen right over here, right over here, right here.
One
All
nurse.
right?
Damn.
Yeah,
Los, thank you, man. For real. Thank you for. I was even lost of words, man, because that was a lot of information, man. But
crazy.
I appreciate you taking the time to not only speak about it but to research it. You know, because
Yeah, bro.
we were supposed to record this episode sooner. But I mean, with that being said, for those that don't know, you can at least get an idea of what's of this conflict going back uh long time, long time. And
Long,
for those
long
that
time.
don't care, that's cool. If you choose to be ignorant, that's fine.
Yeah,
But I don't choose to be ignorant, and that's why I like having these conversations with you. And you're really knowledgeable, man. And yeah, I mean, I guess we'll end it there. But
yeah.
we're gonna for sure gonna you know keep up with what's going on in Israel and stuff in the next episodes. And like I said on the last episode, me and Carlos are now working on pushing our episodes to release on Fridays.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, this was it, man.
I just
Episode
want to
number
say,
9.
that my heart goes out to anybody who's suffering out there in the
Yeah,
world, and that I'm gonna pray for Palestinian and Jew alike, okay? Because I'm not that type of warrior. See, I don't believe in women and children dying, man. I don't believe in that, you know.
yeah,
But
and
I
nobody
hope
should,
that nobody should,
sadly,
man. But then
but there's
scram out of
people
there,
out there.
scram up out of there. If you ain't
Mm-hmm.
with it, scram out of there. They give you a way out. Get up out, because anybody who's staying
Yeah,
there wants it. Anybody who's staying there wants to smoke, and you gonna get to smoke. You gonna get to
yeah,
smoke, my man. You gonna get to
yeah.
smoke.
So do you know if they started going door by door yet? Because I heard they were giving
Yeah,
certain citizens from Gaza like 24 hours, right?
they sent leaflets. They rained leaflets to the sky, told them get out. So I'm not sure they're doing the door by door thing yet, but they're gonna be doing it. I mean, it
Wow,
just makes sense. They gave them 24 hours. I saw those leaflets were on Friday, so they're probably moving in there. They probably already been in.
wow.
I think that they will do it. I think they will wait a little bit, right? Because leaflets drop or they coming tomorrow. You know,
Yeah,
so I think that they're just gonna probably try to surprise them, maybe come by force, and it's just smart just to overwhelm with violence because it's a war tactic.
yeah,
You understand? To overwhelm them. I mean, the Navy SEALs use it, and it's to use the most force of violence possible. You know, and so when they come, they're gonna come hard, bro. They're gonna come hard. It's gonna be gruesome. It's gonna be bad. But like I said, man, you should have yelled at your neighbor when you saw him doing those little movements and preparing, practicing on a hang glider and crap like that he was doing. You should have yelled at him. You should have told him, "Yo, you better cut this mess the f out, bro." No
hmm
way. But no, you was with it, and that's what happens, man.
There's
That's what happens,
consequences to
bro.
that.
Oh
Yeah, we're
man.
definitely gonna. I don't know. I mean, this whole Israel thing is getting pretty crazy. So we'll see how it unfolds throughout the week. And I would like to maybe next episode. I don't know yet. I'm not 100% sure, but just see if we just talk about the Israel updates on what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
well, we'll see how it plays out. But as for now, I really take the. I really appreciate you. You know, giving us the knowledge, man, because it's important to know where it starts. A lot of people thought, like, I didn't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm not the smartest guy. I didn't know it went back then. I didn't know it went all the way that back. And
Uh,
now a lot of things when I research it, it makes a lot of sense. And I encourage anybody, like what Lo said earlier, just go ahead and do your own research, man. Y'all got Google, Google it down and research,
Yeah.
and because it's important that we learn and not stay ignorant, man. It's okay to be ignorant for a few minutes, man, but just gotta learn, the information. And Los, thank
Yeah.
you once again, man, for sure.
Yeah. No problem, bro. Anytime, bro.
All right, man.
Yo.
So I will see y'all next episode if God allows me to be alive. Los, you
Mhm.
as well. Be safe. Have a
Yeah, man.
wonderful week.